What do you do when you're drawing a blank? When there's just nothing happening? When you've got a new project or a new problem? What do you look to for inspiration? What books sneak out of the pile? Which ones find their way off the shelf? Which books do you keep by the side of your bed? The important question is, which books do you pull off the shelf when a friend of yours says, "Hey, what books inspire you?" They fall into several categories. There are books that remind you that there is really good writing out there. There are books that remind you that there's an eternal out there that isn't just whatever you do today or tomorrow. There are books that help you help others deal with the books that inspire you to bring their words to life. And there are books that you just read when you want to laugh, or when you want to know that language is a game that you can play too. There are books that you buy not only because the content is important, but because they're laid out wonderfully well and soothing to look at. Books that you buy because they're just so darn funny you can't put them down and have to buy every single one. That you buy because the things that the author says in them makes you feel like perhaps you have made some of the right choices, and also make you feel like this is a wisdom that you could pass on to others. There are books that are just so perfectly written and the characters are just so wonderful that you fall in love with them and occasionally want to fall in love with them over and over and over again. There are fond childhood memories, and sometimes you just want to pull the comic books out of your comic book boxes and spend a little vacation away from what you're doing right now. Ooh, maybe someday you want to write something like or with a character like her, or make a movie that is that much fun, or just not sleep some night because you're up on the edge of your seat going, "Oh, what's going to happen next?" The things that move you, that when you open them up, you can take nearly any page and find a line that you love. And then there are those books that you find once in the odd college class, and you'll never find them again, so you have to make sure that they're the top of anything you move with. But the bookmarks that tell you here is a treasured memory. From true love come wisdom and goodness, and love comes from these two in turn. The Tao is a wonderful book that I can read and pick up and look at a verse, and just a random verse. Favor and disgrace are like fear. Honor and distress are like the self. What does this mean? Favor debases us, afraid when we get it, afraid when we lose it. The self embodies distress. No self, no distress. Respect the world as yourself. The world can be your lodging. Love the world as yourself. The world can be your trust. 13. There's 88 verses in this book, and I have never completely understood all of them or tired of reading them. And then there's Bellwether, which is a book I recommend to everyone I know. It's a wonderful, you'll find it in the sci-fi section. It's by Connie Willis. And it's about chaos and creativity and how they can all turn out all right. And it's also about sheep. And it's one of the best books I have ever read, and one I read at least every 6 months. You find a book that inspires you in this pile, in a library, in a bookstore, in a dusty garage sale, in your dusty attic. Read it, reread it, pass it on, save it, keep it close, and enjoy.